Hello students, today we are going to study the poem Fire and Ice by Robert Frost from class 10th CBSE NCERT book First Flight. Let me acquaint you with the poet. Robert Frost was one of the most celebrated figures in American poetry. Born on March 26, 1874 in California, Frost was the author of numerous poetry collections. He won 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his admirable works. Robert Frost's poem Fire and Ice expresses the view that the world would end in either of two ways, by fire or ice. Both the elements are symbolic of desire and hatred. Let me recite the poem now. Some say the world will end in fire, and some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Let's see the opening lines of the poem. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. In the opening lines of the poem, the poet reflects the idea that the world would end in either of two ways. Some people are of the opinion that the earth's core will get so heated that it would lead to destruction of earth's surface, whereas others are of the view if temperature goes down to an extent that makes life impossible on earth, it would also have the same effect. Further, the poet compares fire and ice with destructive features of human emotions, that is, desire and hatred. Fire stands for desire and ice stands for hatred. The poem very artistically underpins the philosophy that if we let our emotions rule or dominate us, and in case we don't control them, they will surely destroy everything around us. Now let's see the next line. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. In these lines, the poet says that from what he is aware about desires, he would favor who say that the earth would end due to fire. So, the poet is in approval of those who favor fire. See the next lines till the end. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Here, perish means to die and suffice means to be sufficient, to be adequate. Now the poet says if he considers the world has to expire twice, ice, which stands for hatred, would be equally competent in ending the world. In other words, hostility, hatred, insensitivity have the potential for destruction. Hatred has the same impact or effect that desire has on us. Conclusively, if given an option between fire and ice would be just as capable as fire to bring the world at the verge of chaotic end. Let's have a look at the poetic devices now. First poetic device is rhyming scheme. That is ABA, ABC and BCB. Second is assonance. It is repetition of vowel sounds in same line. The repetition is at different places in different words. For example, we can see these words hold and those. the long sound of O in I hold and those who favor fire. So, in these words, the O sound is being repeated. Next is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two or more closely placed words. For example, the sound of F in favor fire and W in world will. These are examples of alliteration. Next is imagery. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, some say the world will end in fire. To say that for destruction, ice is also great. So, in these lines, a picture is formed in our mind. That means imagery. Next is anaphora. The repetition of a word or expression at the start of two or more consecutive lines. For example, some say is repeated at the start of lines 1 and 2. Next is personification. Personification is to give human qualities to inanimate objects. In this poem, fire and ice are capable of destruction. Thus, the poet personifies fire and ice by giving them mind and power to destroy anything. Next is enjambment. It is defined as the thought or clause that does not come to an end at a line break. Rather, it moves over to the next line. For example, from what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So there is no comma or any other full stop or punctuation mark at the line break. So this is called enjambment. So what we have learnt from the poem, it's a symbolic poem where the poet has metaphorically used the words fire and ice to represent the two emotions of humans, that are desire and hatred, and how both these emotions cause irreversible destruction of the world. Thank you.